Step backs and touchdowns. What's going on? It's your boy Tonio back here today, and we got another episode, the second episode of the boxing show. We still don't have a name for it, but that is not important. Today we have serious business. Today we have the biggest boxing fight in the world since Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather. We got the truth, Errol the Truth Spence Jr. versus Terrence Bud Crawford to unify the welterweight championship belts. This fight is really to see who the best fighter in the world is. Now, if you guys didn't watch my fight predictions on Naoya Inoue versus Stephen Coolboy Fulton, please go make sure to check that out. That is a good video. I suggest you watch it if you're watching this video. That fight concluded. That fight went a totally different way than everybody thought. I'm not gonna spoil it for you if you guys don't know who won, but just go watch that video and then check the fight out for yourself. You can get it on ESPN Plus, but please make sure you go watch that video. But today we got a fight that fighting fans have been waiting for the last 8 years. Since like 2015 we've been waiting on this fight. Errol the Truth Spence Jr. versus Terrence Bud Crawford for the welterweight championship. Who is the best welterweight of this decade? Who is the best welterweight of this century? To be honest with you, this is one that even if you're not a big boxing fan, you should tune into this fight. This fight will make you a boxing fan right here. We got two of the best in the world going at it to see who the best is. This is what boxing has been needing since boxing has died down, since Manny Pacquiao retired, since Floyd Money Mayweather retired. This is what we've been waiting for. Now we're gonna break this down a little bit, and then I'll give you guys my thoughts, my predictions on who I think is gonna win, what I think each of the guys need to do to win. I'm just gonna give you guys a little bit of their resume. We're gonna start with Errol the Truth Spence Jr., the Big Fish, as he likes to call himself. Now he is 28-0 with 22 knockouts. He has 6 title defenses. He's a southpaw, so he's gonna be right foot. He fights with his right hand. He's a left-handed guy. He's 33 years old. He won his first title versus Kell Brook in the 11th round via knockout. And he's got wins like Kell Brook, as we said, Lamont Peterson, Mikey Garcia, Sean Porter, Danny Swift Garcia, and Yordenis Ugas. Now, his last fight was in April against Yordenis Ugas, which he came away with a big victory. He broke Yordenis Ugas' orbital bone, had him looking crazy. He still hasn't recovered from it, and it was in April. Now, but the big thing with Errol Spence is he's coming off of a severe car accident and another car accident on top of that. It wasn't as severe, but it still should be mentioned. But he took a 2-year layoff from boxing because of the car accident. It was bad. We still don't know to the extent like if he's still, the same guy. He fought since that, and it was a big victory, but he's fighting against Terrence Crawford now. Ugas is good, but he's fighting Terrence Crawford, so we don't know how much of an effect it's going to be against Terrence Bud Crawford. Now, Terrence Bud Crawford's resume, he's 39-0, 30 knockouts, 14 title defenses. He's a switch stance. He can fight southpaw, he can fight orthodox. He's better out of the orthodox stance, but he can switch it up and go southpaw if needed. He's 35 years old. He first won his title against Jeff Horn because he did come up from 135 now at 147. So it took him a little minute to win the welterweight belt. And the issue with him is his resume. Many people call Terrence Bud Crawford a pound-for-pound best fighter, 1, 2, 3, give or take him, Inoue and Canelo. But the problem with him has always been his resume. It's always lacked, especially compared to Errol Spence. Now, they do have some similar guys, as far as Sean Porter, as far as Kell Brook, guys like that. But it's the time that they fought him. Errol Spence kind of fought him when they were, still a top name. Terrence Bud Crawford fought him when they was their last fight or their second to last fight out of the business. Now, Terrence Bud Crawford, his last fight was December 10th, 2022 against David Ebenezer, and he knocked him out in the 6th round. It was bad. He won every round. It was really like a tune-up fight, just to show he still got it. But, we all knew he was going to win that fight. There was no threat in that fight. And that's always going to be the knock on Terrence Crawford, which is good while he's taking this fight. If he wins this fight, we can't say anything about his resume anymore. And still there are going to be people like, oh, Errol Spence had the car accident, he didn't fight him at his best, yada yada yada. But it's like, hey, you can't say anything more about the man. They're just making things up to discredit this man's resume. He'll be 40-0. He'll beat Errol Spence, Sean Porter, Gamboa, Kell Brook. There's nothing more you can say about the man, but he's the best fighter in the world. Now, we're going to break down their styles a little bit before I give you my prediction on the fight. Errol Spence, he likes to establish his jab early on in the fights. You'll see him within the first minute of the fight, he'll rattle off about 10 jabs. Just straight jabs at you, just to feel you out, just to make you uncomfortable. He loves to attack the body, especially in that Sean Porter fight. If you watch that fight back, he loved to attack Sean Porter's body, and that really scored him a lot of punches. Even later on in the fight, he's going to attack the body. He's not scared to attack the body, and he will attack Terrence Crawford's body. He usually dictates the pace of the fight. However he goes is how the fight goes, excluding that Sean Porter fight, because Sean Porter he does have an unorthodox style, but usually Errol Spence is going to dictate the style of the fight. He does like to drop his right hand when he throws combos. His hand doesn't come back when he throws his combos, and will leave him vulnerable. I would like to see if Terrence Crawford takes advantage of that. He's one of the most fundamentally sound fighters. He's not crazy. He doesn't get out of character. He's going to be fundamental from round 1 to round 12, and that's another thing he loves. He can go the distance. He's gone the distance, and his speed and his power does not go away. How you see him in round 1, how you see him in round 6, that's how he will be in round 12. That is a good thing about Errol the True Spence Jr. And that Sean Porter fight really showed his character. Please go watch that Sean Porter fight, whether it's before or whether it's after the fight. Please go watch Errol Spence and Terrence Bud Crawford's fights against Sean Porter. You will not be disappointed. Sean Porter makes for great fights, but it really shows you how Errol Spence is when he's out of his comfort zone, how Terrence Crawford is when he's out of his comfort zone, and it really tested their character. And that really made me a fan of Errol Spence watching that Sean Porter fight. Now with Terrence Crawford, he fights out of both, like I said, orthodox and southpaw. He's very selective with his punches. Like, he's not gonna throw all willy-nilly. He loves to counterpunch. Loves to counterpunch. He loves to observe early on in the fights. He likes to see what guys are doing, and he's gonna counterpunch. He loves the counter left hook, the check left hook, and he can roll out combos as well. He does take a few rounds to get going. He's not going to throw as many punches as Spence early on in the rounds, which is going to hurt him in the end, because Spence is going to steal maybe round 1, 2, and 3. As I see it, maybe just round 1 and 2, depending on Terrence Crawford. But Terrence Crawford is going to start slow and probably lose the first couple of rounds. Expect that. He's vulnerable to some hits. He will get hit a little bit, especially by Errol Spence, who's going to open him up with that jab. He's going to take a couple of punches from Errol the True Spence. But he does have devastating power in both hands. He hits you with a counter left hook, you're done. He hits you with a counter right hook, you're done. Straight down the pipeline, he's going to hit you, and you're going to be done. But Errol the True Spence does have a good chin. But we've never really seen him rock like how we've seen Terrence Crawford rock against Gamboa. So if Terrence Crawford does hit him, is he going to go down? We don't know, because we haven't seen Errol the True Spence get tested like we've seen Terrence Crawford get tested. He's more of a headhunter. He's not going to really throw to the body as much, but he's going to make all his punches look the same. But Errol Spence does hit the body. So Errol Spence is going to be hitting the body. Terrence Crawford is going to be looking for the head most of the time. He will occasionally throw a body punch here and there, but most of the time it's to the head. Like I said, he loves to throw the check right hook from the southpaw stance, loves to throw a check left hook from the orthodox stance. And this is a big thing with him. If he's losing later on in fights, he knows how to turn on. He has an on and off switch. When he's losing and he needs to lock in, he will lock in. And you just feel bad for the opponent, because again, Sean Porter said he was losing, he had turned it up. Against Kell Brook, he lost the first 3 rounds. What did he do? He turned it up, knocked him out, got him out of there. That is the one thing that Errol Spence did, or Terrence Crawford did, that Errol Spence could not do. Terrence Crawford is the only man to stop Sean Porter. Errol Spence knocked him down, but it ultimately did go to decision. Now the keys to victory for Errol Spence, he has to find Bud Crawford with that jab early on. If he can establish that jab and he can get it going round 1 to round 4, 5, and get comfortable in there with Bud Crawford, I think that's a great game plan for him. Find that jab, establish it early on, go to the body, just get comfortable in there. See what you can do, see what you can't do, and it'll be A much better fight for Errol the True Spence. He has to keep the pressure on him in the middle rounds. Rounds 5 to 10, or I'll say 5 to 9. 10 to 12 is the championship rounds. 5 to 9, he has to keep the pressure on Terrence Crawford. He can't let Bud Crawford get comfortable in there. If Bud Crawford gets comfortable and can feel like he can touch you, then it's over with. But if Errol Spence can keep the pressure on him, land punches, land that jab, land those body punches, it'll be a good night for Errol the True Spence, and he will come out the undisputed champion. He has to be the aggressor and control the pace. He cannot fight on the back foot, which he's not a guy that fights on the back foot, but he has to be the aggressor and control the pace. How Fulton did against Inoue is not how Errol the True Spence has to do against Bud Crawford. Errol the True Spence has to be on Bud Crawford from the beginning to the end. It has to be constant, non-stop action. Okay? Now for Terrence Crawford, the 3 keys to success I have for him. He has to dominate rounds 5 to 10 because he's going to lose the first couple of rounds because he starts slow. He has to dominate the 5 to 10 because if it goes to decision, those first 4 rounds can come back to bite Terrence Crawford really badly, and we don't want to see that happen. He has to dominate 5 to 10 to give us a compelling fight, to give us if it goes to decision, we want it to be a close decision. We don't want it to be a 118, 110, 120, 107 type fight. We want this to be a fight like where they leave you like, I don't know who won that. A rematch caliber fight. That's what we want to see. So he has to dominate rounds 5 to 9, 5 to 10, whatever you want to call it. Number 2, he cannot let Errol get comfortable throwing those body strikes. When Errol throws those body strikes, he has to counter him with that left hook. He has to counter him with that right hook. He has to counter him. When he's going low, looking for those body punches, Terrence Crawford has to counter those punches with shots to the head. He cannot let Errol get comfortable throwing those body strikes and just get comfortable in general. Number 3, he has to be in 15-round shape, not just 12-round shape. The fight is only going 12 rounds, but he needs 15-round shape. And what I mean by that is he cannot be gassed in round 12. He has to be ready to go another round if they needed to, which they're not. But that's the type of shape he needs to be in. He needs to be built for that, so that in round 12, because we know Errol Spence is. We know what Errol Spence is about. But we haven't seen Terrence Crawford really go the distance because he knocks guys out. But can he knock Errol the True Spence out? We don't know. So he needs to be in that shape to go the distance with Errol Spence because we know Errol Spence will. And we need Terrence Crawford to be just like Errol Spence. What you see in round 1 is what you see in round 6 is what you see in round 12. That is what we need from Terrence Crawford to make this a great fight, to make this live up to the expectations. Now, on to my prediction about this fight. Now, every day I woke up, there was a different fighter I had in mind. I woke up one day, I was like, you know what, Errol the True Spence by decision. Next day I woke up, Terrence Crawford, knockout. Next day I woke up, Errol Spence by knockout. This is how good this fight is going to be. I promise you, will not be disappointed. Now that I'm saying this live on YouTube, I can't change my prediction now. This is what makes this hard. I can't change it. What I say on the internet, you guys will hear. And my prediction is, I'm going to give you guys 2 things, but then I'm going to ultimately say my prediction. If the fight goes the distance, if it is a 12-round fight and we have to go to the judge's decision, Errol the True Spence Jr. will get his hand raised and he will be the undisputed champ. If the fight is stopped, if it does not go to decision, Terrence Bud Crawford is the undisputed champ and is the best fighter in the world. Okay? Those are the 2 things I will leave you with. But my ultimate prediction, what I'm going to go with Terrence Crawford, 11th round knockout. Maybe not a knockout, but an 11th round stoppage. We'll just go with a stoppage. That's a broader topic. Maybe he gets knocked out. Maybe it's a TKO. Maybe throw in the towel. Something like that. But I'm going with Terrence Crawford, 11th round stoppage. And my reasoning for that is Bud has won his last 10 fights by stoppage. That's all Bud knows, man. He hasn't gone the distance in a long time. He's won his last 10 fights by stoppage. Another thing, Spence is coming back from that major accident, man. I have to emphasize that. It was a major car accident. If you have not seen it, please go look it up. It was a major car accident. So we don't know if, he's 100%. And once again, Bud was the only person to stop Sean Porter. If you've not seen Showtime Sean Porter, please go look at him. He has an unorthodox style and nobody's ever stopped him but Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford is the only man to say that, and that is one thing he can add to his resume. Errol the True Spence went the distance with Sean Porter. If Bud can turn it on, which he will be losing during this fight, I can promise you that Errol Spence will be winning um, early on in this fight. If Bud can turn it on like we know Bud can turn it on, I don't think there's anything Errol the True Spence can do about that, man. Bud is a different guy when he's turned on. And if the fight goes to distance, like I said, Errol the True Spence Jr. will be undisputed champion, man. And that's all I got, man. This is a fight of the ages, man. This is a fight. This is one of those um Hagler Hearn, Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran. This is one of these. Marvin Hagler versus Tommy Hearn. This is one of these type fights. Mayweather Pacquiao. This is one of these type fights. They're not heavyweights, but Ali Frazier. This is one of these. Tyson Holyfield. This is one of these type fights that you're gonna sit back and you're gonna talk about for years and years and years and years to come. De La Hoya versus Trinidad. De La Hoya versus Mayweather. This is one of these type fights that we will be talking about, and the next generation will be talking about for years to come. This is what we're gonna tell the next generation about. And they're gonna go and they're gonna watch this fight and they're gonna see how this goes. Now, one thing I do want to say is these guys are not bitter enemies. These guys, if you watch the press conferences, if you've seen them talk, they FaceTime every other day. They're not enemies. They respect each other, and they'll probably be friends after this fight. But this is business, man. This is just business. They're fighting because they want to see who the best is. They're ultra competitive. Both of them are. But I like that they're not, bitter enemies. We do want to see two African American males succeed in their sport, and it's hard to see any of these guys losing their zero because they are both undefeated, and we both want to see them succeed in the end. But one man has to win, one man has to lose. That's just how boxing goes. And either way this goes, we do want to see a rematch. And if that isn't enough, we need to see a trilogy. We need to see 3 fights between these guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down below who you guys got winning this fight. Do you have Errol the True Spence Jr. or do you have Terrence Bud Crawford? I'll let you guys know who I got. I got Terrence Bud Crawford, 11th round stoppage. I want to hear from you guys. Ultimately, thank you guys for coming out, showing support. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, show your friends, your uncles, your aunties, your mammies, whatever you got to do. Thank you guys. Step backs and touchdowns. We out.